A chance encounter with a total stranger can have the power to change the course of your life. Alberto, a homeless man recently released from prison, spotted me sketching in a cafe. He walked over to my table and proudly displayed several tattoos on his arm that he had hand-drawn. Clearly, he was an artist. The conversation that followed over a shared cup of coffee cracked my worldview wide open. With Alberto's permission, I filled my sketchbook with notes and drawings while he shared his life story, inspiring a series of artwork that would evolve over the next 5 years.
Gates Pass. Heading west out of the valley into the Tucson mountains, Gates Pass delivers a spectacular jolt of natural beauty. The expansive, unspoiled green Sonoran Desert, bathed in golden sunlight by day, is ushered into the starry night by deep crimson sunsets. In 1883, pioneer Thomas Gates began carving out this road to create a shortcut through the mountains. With this now public thoroughfare, we all benefit from the curves and scenic overlooks of his inspired creation.
Desert animals. Teeming with wildlife, the Sonoran Desert hosts some unique and fascinating creatures. Javelina families explore for food, while orange and black speckled Gila monsters bathe in the sun. Bobcats stalk for prey. Quail with chicks scuttle between cacti. A roadrunner darts across open spaces, dangling a lizard from its beak. Overhead, majestic hawks and owls perch in mesquite branches. On higher ground, a lucky hiker might observe a bighorn sheep or even a mountain lion.
City of Gastronomy. Recognized as the first UNESCO City of Gastronomy in the U.S., Tucson is home to a plethora of amazing culinary artists. Local chef Maria Mason uses a blender to create psychedelic salsas to top her 25 varieties of tacos. Her talents have been recognized in local and international competitions. From traditional Latin dishes to contemporary fusion plates, she has something for everyone to enjoy.
Go ask a tree. Rings formed throughout the life of a tree reveal stories of weather patterns and past cultures. A.E. Douglas, an astronomer and professor who pioneered the field of dendrochronology, studied tree ring growth to understand solar activity and environmental changes. The Bryant Bannister Tree Ring Building, designed to resemble a treehouse, exhibits specimens from ancient bristlecone pines and handmade wooden instruments.
San Javier Mission. Rising from the desert floor, the stunning Spanish colonial mission, the brainchild of Father Kino in the 17th century, has withstood the test of Mother Nature. Neither earthquakes nor lightning strikes have diminished its glory. Members of the local Tohono O'odham community built this marvel and have witnessed its change of hands through the centuries. Walking through the enormous mesquite wood doors, we view the original artwork of fusion of New Spain and Native America and feel as though we've stepped back in time.
El Tour de Tucson. On the Saturday before Thanksgiving, 10,000 cyclists from around the world descend on our bicycle haven for El Tour de Tucson, the country's largest perimeter bicycling event. From the 100-plus mile race for the pro teams to the 1-mile fun ride for children, everyone has a chance to compete. Rolling through saguaro-studded hills and dry riverbeds, cheered on by the locals, and serenaded by mariachi bands, all are gifted by the spectacle of Tucson at its best.
Footprints of Sabino Canyon. Outdoor enthusiasts, nature lovers, and desert animals create a tapestry of footprints on the myriad of trails crisscrossing this magnificent piece of the Sonoran Desert. Hikers begin at the base of the Santa Catalina Mountains and climb into the foothills along this beautiful canyon that has been carved out over the millennia. At its peak of over 9,000 feet, snowmelt journeys downward, creating lush seasonal streams, giving life and pleasure to all.
The Tucson Gem and Mineral Show. Once a year, an international mix of rockhounds, gemologists, and mineral buffs descend on the old pueblo to barter their wares. Extracted from the Earth's bountiful crust, the green and purple gemstones, fiery jewels, and shiny metals come together in a visual feast. Some attendees revel in fascinating lectures and visit private collections. Others meander through hotel parking lots on a treasure hunt for a new favorite crystal.
Joe's Mural. Using their talent and unlimited imagination, our city's muralists create works of brilliant composition and colors. Joe Pajak's larger-than-life dreamscapes rain down on our neighborhood with the power to transform and uplift. No need to be an art lover or historian. No entrance fees or closing times. Our beloved storytellers share their craft for everyone to see.
Mount Lemmon, Highway to Heaven. Mount Lemmon is Tucson's playground. Named after botanist Sarah Plummer Lemmon, the Sky Island displays plant life from deserts, grasslands, coniferous forests, and alpine mountains. With a temperature gradient of 30 degrees, a spectrum of year-round options awaits the adventurer. Bicycling the challenging and spectacular road, hiking the myriad of trails, rock climbing on the granite cliff faces, or watching the migratory birds are just a few pastimes enjoyed by all.
A Day of Remembrance. A colorful cast of characters surround this elegant couple, dancing, singing, and weeping as they parade through the barrio on the eve of Dia de los Muertos. This outpouring of festivities to honor the dead is the public manifestation of a community with heart. Our spirits lift as we witness the exuberance of costumed stiltwalkers, skull-faced dancers, taiko drummers, and bagpipe players.
The Loft Cinema. This community-supported treasure was preserved and restored for the benefit of all Tucsonans. It is a unique art house beloved by locals and international guests, showcasing a motley spectrum of movies, including First Friday shorts, foreign films, sing-alongs, and cult classics. Doors open early, delighting kids during the Free Children's Festival. In the evening, adults are equally thrilled to unwind at a screening under the stars with a local brew and a bag of organic popcorn.
Frank's Salsa. In the shadow of Sentinel Peak, otherwise known as A Mountain, stands a colorful home full of passion and activity. Frank, the son of Italian and Mexican parents, patiently repurposes old objects into a new state of beauty. His true joy, though, is making salsa from fresh-hatched chilies along with a variety of the finest local ingredients. When the jars are sealed and ready for sale, Frank opens a bright red umbrella on his porch and the neighbors come running.
Muses at the bus stop. They seem to be waiting for the bus. 5 animated women in bright, colorful outfits chatting and laughing. Observing their joyful camaraderie, I was inspired to capture the scene and asked their permission to make a sketch. Several days later, when I returned with the picture, they explained that they routinely gather at the bus stop with its comfortable seating and shelter from the sun. They had no intention of going anywhere at all.
The monsoons. Of the 10 inches of rain a year that fall on the Sonoran Desert, 80% of it occurs on late summer afternoons within a matter of minutes. The dark clouds roll in, bolts of lightning flash, and the heavens open, delivering a deluge to the parched earth. Washes fill up, dips in the road transform into deep canals, and the adventurous emerge to feel the rain on their faces. Just as quickly as it started, the clouds clear, the sun rolls in, and reveals a spectacular rainbow.
Jewish Community Center. 7 days a week, members of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds congregate at the JCC. Athletes arrive at the crack of dawn to use the fitness center, play basketball, and swim laps in the outdoor pool. Weekdays, the toddlers whiz by on red buggies. Linguists, artists, moviegoers, and mahjong players inhabit its comfy space midday, capping their visit with falafel sandwiches at the cafe and a visit to the sculpture garden.
Manana Saeed. A local security guard, Saeed, takes a few moments from patrolling our local shopping center to practice his afternoon prayers. Afghan-born, he once worked as a translator for the U.S. military and is accustomed to risking his personal safety for the benefit of others. At times, a passerby may sneer during his quiet and vulnerable moment of prayer. Unperturbed, he rises to greet them with a gentle tone and magnanimous smile, ever ready to serve and protect us all.
A life in balance. Rising from the earth and reaching clear blue skies, the majestic saguaro towers over all earthly beings in the Sonoran Desert. Succulent fruits, myths, and lessons have long been extracted from this glorious cactus, central to the native Tohono O'odham culture. While it protects itself with narrow spines and prickly needles, it generously offers sweet nectar and waxy flowers to the pollinators. This local icon is a spectacular role model for living a life in balance.
Sonoran Harmony. In May and June, as the Sonoran sun sets, the giant saguaro cacti burst into bloom with milky white flowers. Honeybees, long-nosed bats, white-tailed doves, and hummingbirds flit, dance, and delight in the sweet nectar of our state flower. The flower's melon-scented fragrance reaches its peak around midnight. By midday, the flowers will wilt and die, leaving behind vibrant red pulpy fruits to enjoy in their wake.
Snowbirds. Seniors from throughout the country flock to Tucson, drawn by the mild winters and relaxed atmosphere. Snowbirds represent a substantial part of the community, spending quality time with their families and showering their grandchildren with unconditional love. Most revel in the natural splendor of the desert and enjoy their hobbies with newfound friends. Others volunteer their time and talents, like Florence, who offers free Hebrew lessons and living room piano concerts.
An unlikely floral arrangement. Despite a relative lack of rainfall, the desert produces magnificent spring flowers. Ocotillos, whose thorny arms loom large like barbed wire fences, are momentarily softened by bursts of red petals. Lupine and poppies push through crevices and pebbled lawns. Native cacti produce yellow, white, or magenta flowers. Some bloom in daylight, but the cereus and saguaros strut their stuff at night for evening pollinators.
Backyard bobcat. This stunning creature, rarely seen by humans, shows off its magnificent coat and cunning characteristics in the old pueblo with some frequency. These nocturnal cactus climbers have been spotted perched atop saguaros and nestled within the branches of mesquite trees. Homeowners have surprised them, lapping up water from patio fountains or snoozing on a delightfully shaded porch. All is well until the sighting of small prey suddenly comes into focus.
The Santa Cruz River. Tucson's earliest inhabitants settled along the banks of the Santa Cruz River, a source of food and life-sustaining water. In the early 1900s, the river ran dry. Recent efforts, including the ongoing release of treated wastewater, have restored a living river. Vegetation and wildlife have resurged, as well as 42 species of dragonflies and the endangered Gila top minnow. This turnaround reminds us to exercise vigilance over our precious natural resources.
Women of the Tohono O'odham Nation. These 3 generations of Native American women are descendants of the Tohono O'odham Nation. Centuries ago, their ancestors came to this uninhabited, lush desert oasis to cultivate crops and named it Tucson. Their lives have been impacted by Spanish missionaries, Western settlers, copper mines, and pop culture. The young woman's Eiffel Tower necklace and lip ring contrast with the traditional fry bread that they sell.
Donnie and the Mona Lisa. Inspired by the Tohono O'odham belief that people are reincarnated as saguaro cacti, Donnie employs his instincts to manipulate dried saguaro ribs into carvings and picture frames. The Smithsonian Institute has recognized his unique talents, and one of his pieces is on display in Washington, D.C. in the Museum of Native Americans. His choice of the Mona Lisa as the subject for his frames reflects the commonality of people in all times and places.
New immigrants. An elderly Mexican-American couple relaxes on a bench outside their daughter Petra's mobile home. They tell stories of picking corn and beans from dawn till dusk on a Mexican farm and sending their children to distant relatives to raise. Finally, their grown children helped them immigrate to Tucson, where they are lovingly cared for by their extended family.
Victor's classic Chevrolet. Car enthusiasts delight passers-by with their lovingly restored and repainted vehicles like beautiful moving pieces of art. Whether classic vintage, lowriders, muscle cars, or monster trucks, the owners exude a palpable sense of pride and joy at the auto shows and festivals around town. For Victor, who drives his young daughter to school in his rust-hued Chevrolet, this passion is the fulfillment of a childhood dream, taking him back to simpler times.
Kitt Peak National Observatory. Atop this sacred Tohono O'odham mountain, professional astronomers and researchers observe asteroids hurtling towards Earth, calculating their potential impact. For the novice, Kitt Peak National Observatory, with its spectacular array of optical and radio telescopes, offers an unforgettable evening of stargazing and witnessing the moon in all its glory. What a wonderful place to contemplate life's most basic questions, many of which cannot be answered, yet.
Who rescued who? Tucsonans donate vast amounts of time to help abandoned and neglected animals. Dozens of local rescue organizations, run mostly by volunteers, provide a wealth of resources to all creatures, including majestic horses, broken-winged birds, and lovable mutts. Tucson Cold Wet Noses fulfills their mission by finding a happy home for Timmy, a German Shepherd and Basset Hound mix who turns people's heads and melts their hearts.
Tucson Audubon Mission. The Tucson Audubon Society has the good fortune to be located on the migratory pathway of over 500 birds. Founded in 1949, it is committed to the advancement of education, conservation, and preservation of avian life in southeastern Arizona. From vermilion flycatchers and Gila woodpeckers to Anna's hummingbird, many of these colorful species can be spotted in our own backyards.
All Souls Procession. Inspired by the tradition of Dia de los Muertos, artist Susan Johnson created the All Souls Procession to mourn, honor, and celebrate the dead. Tucsonans of every age, ethnicity, and religion gather for this evening parade. Wearing ghoulish costumes, they carry flower and illuminated portraits of their loved ones. The 2-mile walk ends with a ceremonial burning of a 40-foot towering urn filled with the community's well wishes and memories.
good mothers. As the sun sets, neighbors gather under bridges, listening to the chorus of roosting bats' high-pitched singing. At dusk, the performance begins, and the fine-tuned Mexican free-tailed bats stream out into the night sky to play and feast. They will eat half their body weight in insects each night. Upon their return, mothers locate their young among the tens of thousands and seek shelter within the expansion joints of the bridge.
Marching. Tucsonans channel their heartbreak and rage into passionate but peaceful protest marches. Demonstrators of every race, religion, tribe, and sexual orientation converge in a show of solidarity. Together, they march through city streets and college campuses, singing, chanting, and carrying signs with provocative slogans as they exercise their freedom of speech.
J. Knox Corbett House. Elizabeth Lizzie Hughes, daughter of prominent Tucson pioneers Samuel Hughes and Antonasia Santa Cruz, was gifted a prime lot on which she and her husband, J. Knox Corbett, built their Mission Revival-style home. Lizzie's penchant for throwing elaborate dinner parties, combined with John's interest in nurturing his business and political relationships, led their home to be the epicenter of lively social gatherings, allegedly enhanced with their bootlegged gin.
OK Market. After stints of mining and railroad building, hundreds of Chinese immigrants began farming along the Santa Cruz River. They produced fruits and vegetables and established local markets to sell their goods. As future generations chose higher education over retail, these family-run stores became scarce. The shell of the OK Market on South 4th at 16th Street, the last of its kind, reminds us of those who helped shape what we know as Armory Park.
Mountain Embrace. From the Santa Catalina Mountains of the north, home to bighorn sheep and snowflakes on granite cliffs, to the Rincons of the east, with their ponderosa pines, grasslands, and desert shrub, to the Tucson Mountains of the west, awash with ragged, craggy trails and saguaro silhouettes, and to the Santa Ritas of the south, animated with the birds of Madera Canyon in the shadows of our highest peak, Mount Wrightson. We thank you for your protective embrace.
Welcome to Bookman's. In a world where it sometimes feels hard to fit in, everyone here is accepted. Alex is a great ambassador for this unique bookstore where everyone is welcome to buy, sell, and browse. People from all walks of life find their favorite spot to dig into for a few minutes or the entire afternoon. This dynamic space hosts a whirlwind of cultural events and concerts, all while sustaining a steady flow of inventory by the people and for the people.
The Poetry Center. Ruth Walgreen Steffen, writer and philanthropist, gifted the University of Arizona her humble cottage and a few hundred books, planting the seed for what has flourished into one of the most admirable collections of contemporary poetry. Its new incarnation, an architectural treasure, is a place of inspiration and expression for adolescents, emerging writers, and international scholars alike. Housing over 70,000 works, this center exudes the spirit intended by its pioneer.
Saguaro Silhouettes. In the shimmering heat of a Sonoran sunset, saguaros can be imagined taking on human forms. A child with multiple outstretched arms, an old man leaning over to shade a few blades of grass, a face with hollowed-out eyes and a bird's nest of a mouth. They dance in the backdrop of vivid colors, reveling in the transition to cooler nights.
Hotel Congress. A national landmark where John Dillinger once resided under an alias, Hotel Congress is in capable hands with its current proprietors, family, and staff. It exudes Western culture inside and out, setting the stage for local and national musicians. The eclectic venue satisfies customers of all ages and interests, hosting events such as the Born and Brewed Beer Cup, Chess Fest, CD release parties, and Smokin' Showdown battle for the best barbecue.
Davis-Monthan Airmen. Daily encounters with Davis-Monthan Airmen remind us of those in our community committed to a noble purpose. Many of these future leaders are driven by the opportunity to train in a professional environment that cultivates camaraderie. For others, it is a childhood dream. Hard work and the willingness to make personal and family sacrifices enable them to achieve their mission.
Life on the Loop. In 2018, Pima County completed the Loop, a paved 130-mile recreational trail. It circles Tucson, running along the banks of the Rillito and Santa Cruz rivers. Neon chalk messages, ceramic tile work, and metal sculptures brighten the way. Joggers, cyclists, dog walkers, and rollerbladers relish the car-free haven. Horses and coyotes traverse the riverbeds, as well as quail, roadrunners, and the occasional rattlesnake.
Crossing the desert. What would you do to have a chance to work and be able to feed your kids? God must love me. I don't know how, but I made it. 2.5 days we walked through the desert, and I think I can't walk anymore. The desert was so cold at night. I was sick, but my cousins put their feet to my feet and their legs on top of mine to keep me warm. We made it. I want to be a nurse or work with the elderly. Maybe I get my papers soon. I am happy. This is my year.
You can't close up God in a stuffy room. Tucked away in the foothills lies local legend Ted DeGrazia's Mission in the Sun. Built by hand and heart with earth and sky. Brightly painted children and angels adorn the chapel's interior, along with candles, coins, photos, and beads. It reflects both the artist and his patrons. With its open door and open roof, this tiny temple welcomes all living creatures day and night for a moment of peace.
Tucson Community Meditation Center. The world of rigorous science and the world of deep meditation are beginning a mating dance that could rapidly alter human history for the better, says Shinzen Young. After lecturing at the University of Arizona in the early 1970s, this ordained Buddhist priest was the catalyst for his students creating a local meditation group. Once held in a converted garage, this group evolved into the Tucson Community Meditation Center, now open to all.
University of Arizona basketball. Dressed in University of Arizona red and blue, fans, students, and sports enthusiasts rally together for 40 minutes of clock time in McHale Center, supporting one of the best Division I men's basketball teams in the nation. Since its inception in 1904, UA basketball has evolved from playing in local YMCAs to presenting a formidable force in the NCAA. Talented athletes continue to inspire all to chant, "Bear down."
Living My Truth. As the leader of her high school student-run Gender and Sexualities Alliance Club, Jordan is excited that she and her peers have produced a safe space to be themselves. One of their goals is to share the impact that derogatory, homophobic, and transphobic language has on the LGBTQ community. Vocabulary matters, but they spend most of their time planning socially uplifting events where everyone feels welcome.
Joe on 4th Avenue. Joe takes up residency on the corner of 4th Avenue and 6th Street, strumming an original melody. Like many, he's drawn to this neighborhood for its music, art, food, and eclectic ambiance. A superb place to rest and people watch, it attracts university students, hippies, retirees, and everyone in between. Joe practices for the passerby, hoping one day to be invited indoors to perform at one of the Avenue's popular venues. twisted beauty. Mystical crested saguaro, a giant thumbprint held up to the sky, its memories recorded beyond patterned clouds. A topographic history of rivers that once flowed, our thirsty world is needy of candor. A purple martin swallow asks, "Will a flower blossom?" And this treasure from earth answers. Alberto.